Problem-based learning, often called PBL, is when students are working with real-life problems where they're digging, they're problem solving, and the teacher becomes the mentor, facilitator, and the students are doing rich problem solving. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some collections of places you can go to get ideas about problem-based learning. Then I'm going to show you how to search and find exactly what you need. So problem-based learning, Edutopia, love Edutopia. Their website is filled not only with print resources, but lots of video. And Edutopia is George Lucas's foundation. And this group is my go-to when I want to explain very complex things in an easy way. So Edutopia, you need to be exploring that. So I went out to Edutopia, and of course, what I love is here, you watch the video or read about it. And so I've included a link to a video. Some of them are very short, and some of them are much more detailed. So Edutopia, and then 20 ideas for engaging projects. Here's the hardest part about bringing problem-based learning into your classroom. It's not about one activity or one lesson. It's a total shift in thinking that students are in charge of their own learning, and the teacher is facilitating that. And the problems are not neat. There's no one answer. And students have to work through this. For many students, when they have the experience of problem-based learning, it might be their first time and they don't know how to work not only collaboratively, but how to solve problems in this way. Now, the National Youth Leadership Council is all about service learning. So a great resource for you, I love that, 25 years of resources at your fingertips. So the resource library is where I headed. And these are just some project examples. Now, what I want you to be thinking about is I want you to be thinking about creating learning opportunities for students, really rich problem solving where they're using technology appropriate, more like the real world problem solving. And it is, as we're getting kids college and career ready, we need to involve them in these PBL experiences. And I think that the movement to the Common Core is a fantastic opportunity to encourage more problem-based learning at all levels with all types of students. So here's just the examples on poverty and hunger. And so I thought, wow, what a great place to start. So if you're new to PBL, my goal is not to teach you everything about PBL. We would need a week together for that at least. But this would give you some ideas on what to do with students. So specifically, I went all the way to poverty and hunger to get some ideas. The more specific you can be when you're out looking for resources, the better off you're going to be. Now, this group, the Buck Institute for Education, is always my first go-to group for anything tied to project-based learning, the research, the experts, everything. And so this is the group that I go to. So project-based learning, you want to go to the Buck Institute for Education. You see the address at the bottom. And there's more resources than we could explore in a whole week. They also have a do-it-yourself kit. You really have to understand PBL and problem-based learning to really the essential to do it right. A lot of times people think just activities are a PBL experience. They're not. So you really need to do some reading and research and watch some of these videos about what does it really look like. But again, this is your go-to site, the Buck Institute for Education. They also have a lot of videos on YouTube that you can also look at. Now, how do you find all of these things? That's one thing that we've covered in a couple of our different learning modules, but I wanted to walk you through how did I find these. So especially if you're new to problem-based learning, you might want to see what else have other people done before you start crafting your own. Well, the first thing I did was I did a really poor search on Google. Really poor because I didn't really tell Google what I wanted. I put in problem-based learning examples. You can see not a good search because over 5 million, almost 6 million results. So that doesn't help. Now, one thing I wanted to point out on this slide was the scholarly articles. Usually, if you're searching on something like problem-based learning, you can get to articles right there. So if you're doing research, you would need to know that Google has Google Scholar. And that is a great place to do your research if you need to cite examples of certain things. So Google Scholar. All right, now at the bottom of the search, my bad search, the 5 million search, said maybe this is a better way to fix your search. I love that. It's always like when you spell a word wrong in Google, they politely say, do you mean? Well, they're trying to help me out, and I needed a lot of help. Right below this screen, there is a link to Google Advanced Search. So going there, you can see I put my search, the first bad search, I put it in the wrong place because all of those words, then it treats that search like keywords. It doesn't keep them all together. So if I want to keep them all together, I should move that to the second line and then narrow it. Middle school science. That's starting to narrow. It's probably not going to be great. But I also take out none of these words. I don't want to buy a book, so I took out Amazon and Barnes, and I don't want a syllabus from a college. So I put in syllabus. I use that trick a lot. Getting better, getting better. No, we're not getting better. Okay, probably what was wrong here is the middle school. Putting that term in. Now, because I put it as a key word, anything to do with middle, school, or science, that's what it's searching. So really, bad search. Back to advanced search. Let's get real specific. I want to see if I can find PBL specifically about poverty. And so again, keep Amazon Barnes in your syllabus to keep those out. And, oh, this one I also kept in middle school. See, that's what's thrown us off. Middle school poverty, we're still up with, 12 million. That's way too many. Now taking out the middle school, then we drop way, way down. So sometimes this is a little bit of a game. I kept looking at this going, I can't believe, why isn't this going down? But I really think it was the middle school, because just by taking out middle school, you can see that I reduced my number of results dramatically. And so the more specific you can be, in my thinking, I was thinking a PBL would probably be at the middle school or high school level that dealt with poverty. And a lot of times you could take it up to, the high school or bring it down from something somebody's already done. So that was my thinking in taking out middle school. So we have our scholarly articles and we have links to different resources here. So take the time to master this advanced searching strategies. It will help reduce the number of hits you get and to get to exactly what you want. So the reason I shared this with you is looking at what other people done will help you bring problem-based learning to your students. Thanks.